Hey guys, so happy almost May. I wanted to give a little update as to where I'm at in terms of painting model horses and things going on in my studio. I had someone ask me uh, earlier what exactly I meant by a studio, and really, it's not even a studio per se. It's more just I'm in a space that I have a couple tables and a work lamp, and I just call it my little workspace. It's really our TV room. You can kind of see behind me. I have our TV. I keep Evie down here because it's warm, and there's a closet. So it's I just have my little kind of work area here. You can kind of see everything. I got one table here. That's my work lamp. Got another table there with projects, paintbrushes, kind of a catch-all. Anyway, I wanted to go ahead and show off some of the projects I've been working on this month. I have two finished equids. I finished my Somali wild donkey mare. I finished her, I want to say this was in March now, or yeah, in March, I want to say. Maybe early April, my timing's all. But I finished her, and she was done in pastels and acrylics. Her base coat is pastel, and then she's highlighted with some acrylics, And so I'm super happy about her. She's really cute. I love this mold. The brand is Mojo, and yeah. So here's my little Somali donkey. And then next, I completed one of my very favorite Breyer stablemate molds. This is Senior Carrots, and I love this mold. I already have painted two of this model. One I did as kind of a red and white paint, and the other one I did as a black and white Pinto donkey. And I love those guys. I've actually shown them the other two, and they've done quite well for me in shows. So this guy is demonstrating a little bit of somatic mutation over his hindquarters. So my reference photo did in fact show a donkey that had a darker patch over the loins, over the butt, and then pinto patterns on the withers and the neck and the face and lower legs. So that's somatic mutation, and somatic mutation doesn't just happen in equids, it happens in dogs. It can happen in cats. It can happen in basically anything that has fur or hair, even. I mean, I'd have to really look for pictures of people with somatic mutation, but like if you see a dog that has like a dark patch and he's, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but this is an example of somatic mutation. So anyway, super excited about these two projects. And then I've got a few WIPs, or works in progress. Number one is my Indian pony mare. Her marking around her face is what's called a badger face marking. And I'm kind of at a standstill with her. White markings are never easy for me, and they're actually the bane of the hobby. Everyone hates white markings. I have not talked to anybody who thinks that they're easy. The goal with white markings is to just paint them on as smoothly as possible, and you don't want the paint to look painted on or streaky. You want it to look flat and imitate how it would look in real life on a real life equid. So, like you'd want it just to look smooth and natural. And that can be challenging, especially, excuse me, especially when you're working with white paint. I take my white paint, I've actually treated myself to a different kind of white paint. This is golden artist acrylic. And this consistency is not as thick as some of the other brands I've used of white paint, and it's actually really nice. And I take it and I mix it on my palette. And what I do is I thin it down with water, and I make it the consistency of skim milk or 1% very, very thinned out milk, if you will. Picture that consistency. And then the goal is just to layer on layer on the markings as best you can, and as streak free as possible, which is not as easy as it sounds. I did take a charcoal pencil and I outlined the markings, where they'd want to be, where they'd want to rest, and I had one idea for her markings, and now I think I'm going to take it in an entirely different direction. So I'm kind of having to rethink, how her markings are shaping up, because the pattern that I currently have is not realistic to any horse. So I'm thinking I'll do what's called a Tovero horse, which is a cross between a Tobiano and a Novero. Those are not breeds; those are color patternings. Toveros will have white into the legs, and the white crosses over. So yeah, she is my difficult baby. I say that with all love, but in reality, I'm like so close to just putting her in some purple power and scrapping her. So wish me luck that I don't just completely lose my cool with her and just do away. Like I said, white markings, they're not easy. They're not easy. Next, I have got a little bay stablemate foal. Her coloring, she's a bay, but then she's not just going to be a regular bay, as you can tell by her face. She's kind of she will be what's called a bay roan. So a roan horse is a color, like picture this horse, but then they have what looks like a very fine frosting of hair over them. So it looks like they've been frosted with white, like a very, I've seen it be, like quite a dense roaning where it's like they're almost gray, but you can still see the base color. And I've seen it be very subtle. So she's going to be a bay roan, and I'm going to be trying out a technique. I've been researching a couple techniques. Fellow model horse artists have either suggested doing hair by hair roaning. So I suppose you could use a charcoal pencil. It might be a little faint, but what you do is you take a white pencil or thinned out white paint, and you just do little ticks, little tiny, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to imitate real horsehair. So you have to imagine that you want the hair to look proportionate to the model, and you also want it to look in scale, so you don't want it to look unrealistic. So in her case, it would be very fine, just little white lines, just mimicking the hair, and mimicking the hair growth. And also you want to follow a hair growth chart. So, look up how hair falls on a horse, and especially right here in the stifle area, there's kind of a weird little swirl that happens where the hair kind of goes up and splits out into two different little directions right here. So, and goes vertical, and it's kind of like a little swirl. And so yeah, I'm just base coating her right now. I actually just finished layering her with my pastels. I've been using burnt sienna, and of course black for her black face, black stockings, and I've been using my faithful, oops, that one just dropped, makeup brushes. I've always blunted the ends to keep, and it helps catch the pastel a little bit better. Anyway, just finishing up her base coat, and then I'll spray the sealant on so it seals in this base coat. And then when I'm happy with her shade of bay, I'll start doing the hair by hair roaning. And next, I have a stablemate who doesn't really look like much right now. I've just sort of been working on subtle shading, so the lighting in here is a little funky, but I'm prepping him to be a dapple gray. And some dapple grays, so dapple gray horses will start out either as a dark bay, like a bay horse with picture like this minus the black face. They don't have a black face. They would have like a, red color, brown colored face, like a reddish brown. So picture a bay horse, or even a black horse. And then if they have the gray gene, what happens is that the gray will start taking over their body, and that's when you see the dapples appear. So if you look at the horse, say when they're, close to a year old, they will already have some white, and those are little dapples, those little kind of white circular. I've also seen dapples that are called star dapples, and they do in fact look like little kind of five-pointed stars, not literal five-pointed stars, but they do have kind of little points. So dappling is an interesting, it can happen on any coat color. I had a horse who was bay, who in the summer he would start dappling out, and they were very subtle, but you could tell they were there, just little kind of, and yeah, so this one I'm just sort of still base coating, working on shading, working on, darkening the legs, and he might be kind of a darker dapple gray, kind of a steel gray dapple. And then so anyway, I'm still base coating him. So those are two works in progress. Last but not least, I am going to be taking a class with my friend on doing black model horses. We're going to be doing sunburnt black horses. So a sunburnt black horse is a horse that has spent a lot of time out in, well, any horse that's black and has been exposed to sun, for even just a little while, can start to kind of get a little, so my hair is almost like a bleach black, but it's not. But blacks will have hints of kind of browns and where the sun has touched them. And so we're going to be doing a class that she has already taken, but she's recorded the classes, and we're going to be watching them together and working on a couple models each. And I think we're going to be using pastels and acrylics. I don't know about oils, but we just have to set up a time that we can get together and watch our first class. So anyway, that's kind of just all that's been going on. I always have more than a few projects going on, but it keeps me busy, and I really like it. And it's really frustrating, especially because horses like this, it's just like I've already gone in with a nail file and sanded down some of the white markings that are not very smooth and tried to start over, and I'm really losing my patience. Like I said earlier, I am so close to scrapping her, but I've been kind of just putting her aside because I don't really want to mess with her right now. Also because I'm just kind of sick of it. And that's why I kind of start other projects just to keep me busy. But yeah, anyway, I'll make an update again when I am finished with my three that I've got going on, and when I'm taking my black class and we're transforming these guys into sunburnt blacks. They've been primed in Duplicolor, black Duplicolor. And yeah, this guy is one of my favorite molds, and really looking forward to working on this guy. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for taking a little bit out of your time to watch my videos. I appreciate it. Please comment below if you have any questions. I would be happy to answer anything to the best of my abilities. I'd also be happy to show people what it's like to work on a model horse, because I know I make it sound like it's this big ordeal, but it really isn't. It's really just, finding the time to just be creative in your own way, whether that's painting on a canvas or a model horse or journaling or what have you. And I'm just taking people on a little behind the scenes look. So anyways, Hope everyone's having a good April so far and happy almost May.